Beau, what color is your sky this morning?
Orange.
Yeah, mine too.
Pour the coffee, Earl. We're going to do one today where nobody's the bad guy. Canada's fire season started slow this year. Quiet spring. And then the first 2 weeks of July happened.
Just fell apart, didn't it?
Heat, drought, and wind all landed at once across northern Ontario, Quebec, BC, the Northwest Territories. On July 9th, the federal government counted 796 active fires. By mid-July, it was pushing 850, and around 725 of them out of control.
700 plus, out of control, all at the same time.
More than 3,000 fires this season. Well over 1.5 million hectares burned already. And the hardest weeks of the season are usually still ahead.
And the worst of it right now?
Northwestern Ontario, Nipigon, Sioux Lookout, Red Lake, Dryden, Fort Francis, right along your Minnesota line. Ontario's had 453 fires this year. 10-year average is 312.
And people are losing homes up there.
First Nations communities evacuated, homes gone, crews stretched to the limit. That's the part that doesn't make the American news, Earl. The smoke does, but the people don't.
Right, and here's where I've got to correct my own countrymen, because back home, folks call this the Canadian smoke. July the 6th, a lightning storm rolled through northern Minnesota. Over 1,000 strikes inside the boundary waters alone. Next day, the fires started lighting up. The Campfire, up by Ely, the Bear Trap, the Thumb. By that week, the Superior National Forest had 17 fires going in and around that wilderness.
Over 1,000 lightning strikes.
1,000. American fires on American ground, lit by the sky itself.
What did they do?
The Forest Service said out loud they haven't seen conditions like this in over 20 years. They started by closing 225,000 acres on July 11th. 3 days later, they gave up on halves. Shut the whole boundary waters down. All of it. 1.1 million acres. Damn near the size of Delaware.
How many people were inside?
Somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000.
In the backcountry, by canoe.
Rangers paddling in to find them, portaging boats overland to get folks out. They'd reached about 90% by Wednesday. Governor Walz sent the National Guard. 17 people pulled out, no injuries reported. And Beau, that is a small miracle.
Here's the number that stops me. Bear Trap and Thumb, those same two fires, crossed the international border into Canada.
Went north, right past the customs house.
Earl, tell them about the campers.
11 kids. Teenagers, 16 to 18, from the YMCA of the North, out on advanced canoe trips deep in Wabakimi Provincial Park, up in Ontario. 4 guides with them. And the fire closed in around them.
American kids, on Canadian water, fire coming.
Who came and got them?
The Royal Canadian Air Force.
Nobody phoned Washington first. Nobody checked whose taxpayers paid for the aircraft. There were kids in the backcountry with fire moving, and there were Canadian crews close enough to reach them.
And they went and got them.
And here's what your own governor said about it, Beau. Walz. He said it took one call. And overnight, all of Canada's forces were activated to go rescue Minnesota's campers. Said that speaks volumes about our neighbors from Canada.
A U.S. governor saying that out loud.
That's it. That's the whole story of this border. Right there, in one night. And that rescue wasn't a happy accident. There's paperwork behind it. Been there a long time.
1982. That's the year. The U.S. National Interagency Coordination Center and the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Center set up an arrangement to share firefighting resources across the line. There's a diplomatic note that authorizes crews and aircraft to cross the international boundary to fight fire.
44 years old.
And it's not a piece of paper in a drawer. In 2023, when Canada was burning, the Americans sent us 2,774 resources. Crews, air tankers, smoke jumpers, incident management teams.
It runs the other way, too, which nobody up your way hears about. January 2025, California's burning. Quebec sends 2 air tankers. Alberta sends crews. British Columbia sends crews.
Canadian pilots over Los Angeles.
And there's the state-to-province compacts on top of it. The Northwest Compact's been running since 1999. Alberta, BC, Yukon, Saskatchewan, Northwest Territories, sitting down with Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Montana. Alaska's sent hotshot crews north. Montana's sent incident managers.
Now, Earl, think about what we talked about a couple weeks ago.
The trade deal.
On July 1st, the United States declined to renew CUSMA. Now it gets reviewed every single year until 2036. Every year back on the table. Every year up for grabs.
The firefighting arrangement's held since 1982, without a peep.
Same two countries, same politicians, same border.
So we can't agree on aluminum. But when the woods are on fire, we've had it figured out for 44 years.
Because you can't tariff smoke, Earl. There's no leverage in it. Nobody wins by holding out.
Huh. Maybe that's the whole trick. All right. Straight question. Is this just a bad year, or is something changed?
Scientists don't hang it on any one thing. It's a stack. Long heat waves, drought. Forests with no moisture left in them. Wind. And years of dry fuel piled up on the ground.
A researcher at Columbia's climate school put it about as plain as it gets. Severe drought plus heat in Canada and the U.S. both made a perfect storm of dry conditions to feed these fires.
And the research is consistent on the direction of travel. A warming climate is making fire seasons longer and the fires themselves more frequent and more intense. Canada's Environment Minister said the same thing. Longer, drier summers, more wildfire risk.
Now I know the second somebody says climate, half my audience reaches for the remote.
Reach for it after we're done.
I'm not going to tell anybody what to do about it. That's a fight for another room. I'm just telling you what the fire behavior people are seeing, because it's their job to see it. Longer seasons, bigger runs, fires that don't lie down at night the way they used to.
And one line from the Minnesota response stuck with me. A spokesperson said, "There'll be fire on that landscape until fall, and some of it will burn until snow cover."
Until snow.
That's not a fire you put out. That's a fire you wait out.
And Governor Walz knows it. He declared a peacetime emergency on July 12th. Then 3 days later, his council voted to extend it another 30 days, out past August 11th. That's not a state bracing for a bad weekend, Beau. That's a state planning its whole rest of summer around fire.
Two of the big ones tell the story. The same two that walked into Canada. Bear traps pushing 13,500 acres. Thumbs over 14,000. 0% contained, both of them. 17 fires in all, around 55,000 acres, every one of them lit by that same July 6th storm.
0. One storm, 17 fires.
On a fire that size, 0% contained is another way of saying we're mostly just watching it. And here's the mercy in it. As of the middle of the month on the American side, not one injury, not one life lost to any of it.
In country that rugged, with fire moving that fast, that's 400 firefighters doing the near impossible.
And then there's what the rest of us got, the smoke.
About 100 million people. Midwest, Northeast, Mid-Atlantic. High pressure parked overhead and pinned it right down at ground level.
Thursday, Minneapolis had the worst air quality of any city on Earth.
Hazardous. Not sensitive groups. Hazardous for everybody. Twin Cities, Duluth, St. Cloud, Brainerd, Tribal Nations, Mille Lacs, Prairie Island, Grand Portage, Fond du Lac.
Toronto disappeared. You couldn't see the CN Tower Wednesday. New York went hazy Thursday. And Earl, Detroit's air was among the worst of any major city in the world.
Detroit. We just spent a whole episode on that town and a bridge.
Same city, same week. Two countries arguing over who owns half the tolls on a bridge across the Detroit River.
Well, everybody on both banks is breathing the same poison.
And here in Durham, we got it too. Same haze over Oshawa as over Michigan. Nobody filed paperwork.
Smoke's got no passport, Beau.
Never needed one. So here's the honest version. Right now, Canada's got around 850 fires going, and most of them are out of control. Minnesota shut down a wilderness the size of Delaware. 2 American fires walked into Canada. A Canadian aircraft flew Minnesota's kids out of the backcountry. 100 million people on this continent were told to stay indoors and shut the windows in the middle of July.
And not one bit of that had anything to do with tariffs or bridges or who owes who what.
Not one bit.
You know what I keep coming back to? Every argument we've done on this show, the trade deal, the bridge, all of it. It's two countries trying to work out who gets what, and then the woods catch, and all of that just stops mattering. Instantly.
Because there's no version of this where one of us wins.
No, there's just the fire, and whoever's close enough to help.
We figured that out in 1982. Been getting it right ever since. Quietly, no press conferences. Before we finish, Earl, we need to stop and say some names. Because this season's already cost lives.
Say them.
June 24th, near Fort Simpson in the Northwest Territories. A small plane went down. It was a bird dog. That's the aircraft that flies the fire run first, so the water bomber behind it can drop safe. 3 people aboard. All 3 gone. The pilot was Robert McLeod. 25 years in the air. A flight instructor, a medevac captain, the man the younger pilots learned from, and 2 air attack officers with him, Olivier Lamy and Ryan Beck, who was still in training.
Still learning the job.
Their fire service called it a wound that cannot be repaired. Said they died in the line of duty, protecting people they would never meet.
And I've got one from my side of the line, Beau. Might be the truest thing we say all day. July 12th. The Gold Mountain Fire in southwest Colorado. A helicopter pilot flying water runs goes into a reservoir. He doesn't come out. His name was Nicholas Dale, 56. And he wasn't one of ours. He was from Sook, British Columbia.
A Canadian, dying on an American fire.
And the next morning, the people of Montrose, Colorado lined a mile of Highway 50, every one of them holding an American flag, to carry him home. The governor lowered every flag in the state to half-mast for a Canadian they'd never met.
That's the whole show, Earl. Everything we've spent 3 episodes trying to say, and a town in Colorado said it better than we ever could, without a single word.
Nobody checked his passport.
And it isn't only the ones in the aircraft. When another group of paddlers got trapped by fire up north, the man who got them out was their outfitter, and his own lodge had just burned to the ground. He hired a helicopter out of his own pocket, $5,000-$6,000, and brought them home while he lost everything he owned.
Didn't even stop to think about it.
A rail crew drove a train straight through a wall of fire near Armstrong, Ontario, to keep the line open, and the people of Collins First Nation got out by boat, on the water, as the flames took their community.
Regular folks, doing the brave thing because it was standing right in front of them.
Both sides of the line, every one of them.
To the crews, both flags, everybody out on that line right now.
To Robert, Olivier, Ryan, and Nicholas, who didn't come home, and to the folks up north who lost their houses this month, who nobody's talking about.
Keep your windows shut, folks. Check on the old-timers and the little ones.
That's border coffee.
That's border coffee.